Hey, good morning everybody. Yesterday we left off with this edger here. Carburetor's leaking like crazy, so the needle and seat stuck in there. I was able to find the carburetor, not the carburetor, the spark plug for it, and it was about a 1/16 of an inch shorter than the one that kept on closing the gap. They had two catalogs, spark plug catalogs. One was for Champion spark plugs and the other one was for NGK. There's no listing for this Wenling Zhangfeng engine here, so I went to Home Depot and they were running out of everything in there, and they usually, and this is like the middle of August, so they're not going to restock any spark plugs or anything. So I ran up the street to Lowe's and I was able to match one up. There's like a 1/16 of an inch shorter. So I went ahead and bought that, put it in, started right up. I don't know if it's going to start right up today. I wanted to show you what the carburetor is doing as far as not running smooth. And today we're going to take the carburetor off, take it apart and clean it. Hopefully the gaskets and everything are okay. I'm going to carefully take it apart, because getting parts for this thing is like, I don't know, like getting parts for a Studebaker, I guess. Choke it. Might not. Yeah, maybe it'll start. I don't think we're gonna get it to start today. Alright, let me just go ahead and do the carburetor work on it. We'll start it. It started up yesterday and ran pretty good. I'm going to pull the plug out again, make sure it didn't get crushed, but I'm sure it didn't. It would have gotten crushed yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and get it on the bench, and we'll take the carburetor off. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is there's this guard on here, and there's one Phillips head screw I have to take out to pull this guard out, because what we have here is we have studs. The carburetor goes over studs here, and sometimes you do have to take the studs out on certain Honda engines and stuff like that. What I normally do is I put one nut, because this has the nuts with the washers on them. So what I do is I put one nut on backwards, and then I put one nut on the right way, and then I just take a 10mm wrench on the inner nut and the socket on the outer nut, and I lock the two nuts together, and then you can screw the whole stud out. But in this case I took one stud out, but you really don't have to on this. So okay, I'll go ahead and take that guard off. Okay, so you have this linkage here. It's the rod going to the governor, and you have a spring. So you're going to want to take the spring off here, and then once you pull the carburetor off, you could twist the carburetor to the right, and this linkage will come, this rod will come right off the linkage here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. What I did, first of all, I loosened the bowl. There's a bolt under here that holds the bowl in. I loosened that up. It's easier to do it when the carburetor's on. Sometimes they're tough to get off, and we'll go on from there. So it looks like somebody was fooling with this already. What it has is it has this cover in here, this plug here. That's usually why the engine will not run smoothly. What you have to do is you have to take this plug out here, and you have to clean all the ports out that are in the carburetor. This one also happens to have a fuel adjustment mixture screw right there with the spring on it. So what you want to do is you want to screw it in, count how many times you screw it in, and once you take that out to clean out the carburetor, then you have an idea of where you want to put it back to where it's set. This one was all the way out. Yesterday, after I got it running, I tried to mess with the mixture screw, but the engine still didn't run right. So there's most likely a lot of dirt in here. It has to be cleaned out. So we're going to go ahead and take the bowl off. This also has another adjustment under here. I'm surprised it has these adjustments on it, because this is a 2012 engine. They usually did away with any kind of adjustments or anything, so you can't adjust the carburetors. That's one good thing I can see about this carburetor here, is that we could adjust it. Now I have to take this bowl off. Hopefully the O-ring in there, the gasket, whatever you would like to call it. I have to make sure I take it apart very carefully and not damage anything, because I could just imagine what it's going to be like to get parts for this. So okay, we're going to move on. Okay, so there's a pin in here that holds the float on. I took the pin it's mostly out. I pulled it out, and we're going to take that out. Now I'm going to remove the float, and then you have a needle and seat. There's a problem here with this. When I pushed the bowl all the way up towards the bottom, the base of the carburetor, and I blew through it, there was still air coming out, which you don't want. That means gas is going to flood the engine out. But I kept on wobbling it up and down, and then it stopped. So we're going to try to clean it all out and see if it's alright. On the tip of this, the seat is actually on the needle, where some of the carburetors have the seat is pressed into the base of the carburetor. So after looking at this, it looks like it's pretty good. It just probably has some dirt deposits to where it wasn't seating right. Okay, so we'll continue. Okay, I'm going to try to show you all the ports that you want to clean. This one here in particular has this it looks like it is a jet, so you want to make sure that's clear. And then inside here you have one port. You want to spray in there and make sure that that's clean. And the way you could tell is once you spray through there, you'll see a jet here, and a jet that's pretty hard to see in here. You'll see the carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner, whatever you're using to clean the carburetor, spray out. So wherever you're spraying, make sure it comes out at least one or two of the ports there. Now over here, this was the mixture adjustment. I sprayed in there. That seemed to be pretty clogged. That's why I couldn't get any smooth idle yesterday, or smooth running, if you will. And right here where I took the plug out, this is usually the main reason. There's a jet in here. You got to make sure that's clean to spray in there, and it should come out the bottom here. So if that's clogged, you won't get a smooth running engine. Also, there's a whole lot of crud in the bowl here, so I went ahead and cleaned that out. I still got to clean it out a little more. I had to go inside and get some more brake clean. And after this, I'm going to assemble it. You kind of saw how I took it apart, so I'm going to assemble it. Once I get the float on there, I'm going to show you how to test it and make sure that the needle and seat is working correctly. Okay, now that you have put your needle back in, the needle and seat assembly and the bowl, and then I put the pin back in, the retainer for the float. You want to make sure everything works nice like that. You're going to leave the carburetor upside down, and you're just going to blow with your mouth through the fuel inlet here, and you shouldn't be able to blow any air through there. And I can't. But once you lift the float up a little bit, that's what lets the gas in. You should be able to blow air through here, so I'm going to try that. And it works great so far. And like I said, I cleaned the bowl out real good, real good. And we're going to disassemble it. We're going to put everything back in that you seen that I took out to clean out the carburetor. I'm going to put it back in. I'm going to install the carburetor back on. I'm going to drain whatever gas is in there, and just to make sure that the bottom of the tank is clean, and we'll put some fresh gas in it and try to start it up again after I get it back together. Another thing I want to mention in taking this apart, the carburetor goes on the engine this way, like this, and then you have this adjustment here in the bowl. The adjustment here was facing all the way in, so it would be impossible to make any adjustments, you know, as far as the fuel mixture control here. So what I did was I installed the bowl to where you could gain access to this if you need to make an adjustment here. Okay, so the carburetor's all back together and installed. I drained some gas out of the tank. It doesn't seem to be any dirt in it. So I hooked up the fuel line, and it's been sitting with the fuel line hooked up for about 15 minutes, and it's not flooding over like it was before. The needle and seat's clear. I also pulled out the spark plug. Everything's good with the spark plug. The electrode is not mashed or anything like that, so it's got the right plug in it. But it was flooded a little bit from the carburetor, flooding over like it was. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start it up. We'll see if it starts, and once I start it up, I'll adjust the air mixture. Like I said, I screwed the air mixture back in and backed it out like 1.5. Usually want to adjust your air mixture with the air cleaner all assembled, but like I said, that's all missing. In the next couple of days, I have to see if I have anything around to either change the whole thing out, or I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So let's see what happens now. I got a full choke. Oh, spark plug wire again. Same as yesterday. Forgot to hook it back in. still has the issue of not running smoothly. But when I told you that adjustment in the bowl, I twisted the bowl around. Now the air cleaner housing's in the way. So I'm going to try to twist the bowl around a little bit. See if I can get to that. See if we can adjust that and make it run smooth. Okay, the carburetor idle screw is missing. I took one out of another carburetor here. That's why it's running up and down. It's this screw right in here. Controls this. So it seems to be running okay. Like I said, I have to make final adjustments once I put an air cleaner housing on there. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.